Okay, so the part I'm going over today is a little bit more advanced, as I mentioned. If you want to review the other things that we've gone over in previous videos, there is the tutorial PDF here, which has all the basic stuff that you need to be able to finish the assignment. But there's a couple advanced techniques that I think are that I want to cover. So most of the basic stuff is in here, and of course we can review all that stuff. There's a couple things in here that we haven't actually gotten to yet, which is mainly the exporting. I guess we haven't actually done the text part. I'll throw some text in, although it's pretty much the same as the other types of footage. But yeah, the exporting stuff is the main part that we haven't gone over yet. We'll go over that next week. Go over everything that we need to submit the assignment. But what I want to talk about today is a little bit more of an advanced topic, which is defining an After Effects and Illustrator file. And that can be really convenient because essentially with After Effects, you have a lot of the same tools that you have in Illustrator to create shapes and add colors and do stuff like that. But After Effects is mainly for animation. It's not really always where you want to create all of your content. And so if you want to use Illustrator or Photoshop, which have more composition tools, you can actually bring those files into After Effects as footage, and then you still have the ability to change the original file. So that's what makes it really powerful. And so we can import footage into our Illustrator or into our After Effects program pretty easily. So to demonstrate that, what I'm going to do, share my here. Okay. So in my MMP 100 folder, I have a few different projects at this point, and I'm going to go into my Illustrator self-portrait. I'm going to make a copy of this, so I don't want to edit the original, just in case I make changes. I want to make that, so I'm going to make a copy of this. I'm going to right-click and copy, and then I'm going to go back to my animated emotions. And so I'm not going to start a new Illustrator project because that would take time, and we've already gone over Illustrator. So I'm just using it as an example. But I'm going to paste this Illustrator document into my animated emotions folder, and then I'm going to bring this into After Effects as footage. So there's a couple things that you have to kind of be careful with. But what I'll do is I'll go back to After Effects, and I'm going to go to import, and I'm going to import a file. I'm going to click File here. And then in my File Explorer, I'm going to go to MMP 100 and go to my project folder. And here's the copy of the Illustrator file that I made. And so it's fine with this. All this looks fine. But the one thing I want to make sure to do here is you can import this as footage, or you can import it as a composition. And so I'll show what happens with both. So I'm going to import it as footage first. I'm going to click import. And it's going to actually ask me how I want to do this. So I'm going to say import as footage, and I can either merge all the layers together or I can choose. So you can see I don't have very good layer names in here. I should have made better names for my layers, but if you named your layers well, you would see the names of the layers here. And so I'm going to click OK. And so now I just have the Illustrator portrait here, and I can add it here. There it is. And I can animate it, I can rotate it, I can do all. But it's just an image, and it's still something that I can update. So, for example, if I open up the Illustrator file, so while I'm opening up the Illustrator file, so if I make changes to the original file, because it's an Illustrator file and not like a exported image where all the data is kind of like set, I can actually make changes to the Illustrator file, and then when I come back to After Effects, we'll see those changes updated in After Effects. So that's what kind of makes this using the Illustrator file itself rather than an image file pretty. It says it can't find this file, so I'm just going to say ignore. Happen. It's still there anyway, so that's fine. I think I just added this background as kind of a demo, but I don't necessarily need it. I might just delete it and I'll make my artboard smaller. Okay, so let's. I have all these layers that don't have good. Should have done a better job of this before. So I'm gonna unlock the. Okay, so this is my text. I'll just call this text. This doesn't look like it has anything on it, so I'm just that. Okay, it says it has. Oh, it's behind other text. Call this text. And I think I just made a lot of copies of it. So I'm just gonna delete. That's why it's good to make a copy, so I'm not deleting. Okay. Yeah, I just made a bunch of copies of those. Okay, so then this is like the little face, and this layer doesn't have anything on it. So and then I'm gonna put these layers together and call this round, and then just move this. Okay. So anyway, so I've got it formatted a little bit better. But let's say I wanted to change something like the main color of the face. I could go in and click on the face and open up my color picker, and maybe I want to make it like pink or something. So I can choose a different shade, or maybe I want to do like gradient or something like that. I'm gonna have to. Okay, so I'm gonna select all these guys, and let's say I want to change the color. Maybe I want to make it yellow. That looks kind of cool. So I'll update all this. And so I'm going to save this, and you have to save it. It won't work if you don't save it. But once I've saved it, if I go back to After Effects, see that the footage just updated automatically in After Effects. I can design something in Illustrator and then go into After Effects, and all the changes that I make in Illustrator will be updated. So then if I add some different animations, so let's say I want this guy to come onto the screen, I can drag him over here, and I'm going to move my playhead up here a little bit, and I'll click on my layer and hit P for position and just click on that keyframe. And then I want to just get him onto the screen, so I'm going to move my playhead up a little bit, drag him over. There he is. And since I moved it, that adds the key for me. And so now we have my little Illustrator file coming onto screen. We can animate the whole file and do different stuff with it as one piece of footage. So that's one way to do it as basic footage. So that works pretty well. The other way we can do it is we can actually pull out all the layers and animate the different layers at the same time. So depending on what you're going for, that might be effective. So I'm going to do another import, but this time I'm going to import the composition instead of footage. So I'm going to go back to File and go to Import and go to File and import my self-portrait again. And now I'm going to change this to composition. Okay, so now if I go, and it created this entirely new composition with my self-portrait with all of my layers here. So now if I want to animate something, for example, if I hit R, I can animate the rotation of the face. So I'll move my playhead up a little bit and add a keyframe, and then move my playhead over here. And set the rotation to 1. So that adds in a new keyframe. And so now I've got my head rotating. Rotate the different sections by themselves. And then of course I can replace this footage. I could go back to my main composition. I could say, okay, I liked what I did with this one, but I want to put the other one here. So instead of footage, I can drag this entire composition in here. And let's see if I can copy the animation. If I right click on here, I kind of forget how to do that. I'm pretty sure that if I right click here, maybe if I go to edit, copy, and click here, edit, paste. No, that's not what I want. Let me Google that real quick. After Effects, copy. Okay. Like there's not a good answer there. So I'll look into that later. But anyway, let's just recreate the animation. So I'm going to turn off this self-portrait and take my new self-portrait with the head out a little bit. And now I can animate this composition, but you'll see the rotating head is still animating. So drag my playhead back a little bit. I'm going to select this layer and hit P and frame this position. And then I'm going to move ahead up here. And now I'll just drag this frame. Maybe I'll move over this time. And now let's watch that animate in. Okay, so we see the head animating, but it's not really on screen yet. So let's go back to this keyframe and just move it a little bit closer so we see that animation. Okay, so now we can kind of like layer those animations. Okay, so those are the two ways that you can add an Illustrator file into or After Effects, and you can animate stuff. And in both cases, with this file, if I go back and I edit the original file, it'll update in After Effects. So if I go back to Illustrator, and let's say that color was nice, but it didn't match my maybe I want something that's like green. It's a little too green. Just subtle green over here. That's kind of nice. So now I've changed the color again, and if I save this and go back to After Effects, and we can see the green color updates. And it's not just color, it's anything. If I change the position or anything like that, now we can see that both of my Illustrator footage has updated the color. Okay, so we haven't covered text yet. I'm just going to cover that real quick. So I'll just add some text and make it come maybe from the top or something, animate it a bit. So if I want to add text in here, I can just click on the type tool and I can draw the text wherever I want and put it up here. So I'll animate it. So I'm going to zoom it and I'm going to hold up. Okay. And so I'm going to type, that was my word. It's very hard to see. So what we're going to do, once I type that, I'm going to hit Control A to select all the text. And I'm just going to increase the size. Let's actually just move it. Okay. Hard to get out of the type tool. So I'm just going to click on this. Okay, there's my frame. Okay, let's zoom in on here a little bit. And so I can also change the different fonts, but I have to have the text selected. So for example, if I like change the font, you can see the font is changed, but I need to have this box selected for this to show up. Okay, so let's choose a nicer font. Let's scroll up a little bit. You have some basic examples. You can always like grab some stuff from Google as well. I could use this Google pixel font, and we can change the color over here. So maybe we'll go with red, kind of scary. And then I can animate this like any other property that I would animate. So if I want to move it up here and make it appear top, I can just move it up, and then I'll click on my text layer and hit open. And I'm going to move my playhead up a little bit and hit the key here. And then I'm going to move my playhead all the way over here. And now I'm just going to drag my text down here. Color actually doesn't really match the rest of the composition. So let's see. Maybe we just, yeah, if we do pink, that'll be better. Okay. So now I can drag back and preview. Okay, so now we have our text. And there's a lot of other stuff that you can do with the text. You can change the paragraph. You can add effects, like you add an outline or different things, just like in Illustrator or Photoshop. You have a lot of the same possibilities with text, or really with anything. But yeah, that's basically how we add in text. Okay. Uh, so I'm going to stop the demo here. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to for anything.